and welcome to my podcast on real relationships. My name is Sophie Passon, and I am a relationship expert, international speaker, and best-selling author of the book Your Other Half. I decided to start this podcast because, in my opinion, relationships are currently not being portrayed as what they really are. Whether you're watching the news, social media, TV, the perception given to people is wrong. And my aim is to talk about what happens in the real world, talk about real stories, and listen to what real people think, do, or go through, as opposed to creating expectations of something that doesn't actually exist. I may not agree with everything that is said by my guests, but it is their chance to express their opinions and their stories. And here today, we are going to talk about confidence with Evelyn Brink. Hi, Evelyn. How are you?
Hello, Sophie. I am very well. How are you?
Good, thank you. So tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Marvelous. I'm so happy you got me on this podcast and we get to talk about confidence and relationships. I work as a transformational coach and expert in executive presence. And what that means is that leaders from corporations and businesses come to me and then they say, please, Evelyn, help us be more confident when we speak in public, whether that is on stage or on camera. But we need to be more authentic and we need to be confident. We need to know what we're doing and not lose our cool. But also nowadays, the modern leadership is we don't want to be a professional poker face anymore, but we need to be more human in our expression. And so this is when I come in and get to work with people. As a coach to the stars, I work with creative, very high functioning creative, very successful creative and celebrities. I get to work on their inner confidence, on the way that they can keep their integrity intact and growing themselves whilst the success is demanding more and more of them. So confidence is one of my favorite topics, which weaves through all of the areas of my work, including my personal artistry when I am on stage and expressing myself, which these days I do with writing and speaking, and singing. But in the past, I've done that with stand-up comedy. I've been known as Europe's #1 Madonna impersonator. I've been an actress. I've produced, written, and performed over 21 woman shows. And so, yes, the topic of confidence is one that I have thought about more than once.
So before we actually go into confidence and what it means and all the rest of it, it's just something you said that just because it just happened, I suppose, you know how you just bring something to your mind.
Yeah.
Last week I was in London and one of the things was an audience with Fern Cotton and how, you know, really what she was trying to explain was how actually the person on TV, you know, it was all very scripted. It wasn't really her. And that's where she probably started to have these mental health issues because it wasn't authentic enough, I suppose, to a degree, and it wasn't really her. And I think that it's a word that is becoming a little bit too buzzy, but at the same time is important. But authenticity is something that is crucial, really, in not just in business, but in relationships, because I see so many people that try to be all of these things to all of these people, but actually they've lost who they are and they're not authentic. And that's why their relationships don't work, because they're not themselves anyway.
Yes. So authenticity is absolutely one of the most overused and at the same time most important words and concepts that we need to talk about when we are talking about relationships, when we are talking about success, and also when we are talking about confidence. So we'll weave that in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So what is confidence?
So confidence stems from the Latin word confidere and means with belief. Now the question is, what are you believing in?
Yeah.
People think it's self-belief. You believe in yourself. You just believe in yourself, as every good movie tells you. Everything will be just fine and dandy. I love to start with making a little bit of fun of that because believing in yourself is a very fiddly thing to do.
And it depends on the circumstances and the social setup or whatever.
And what is the self we're talking about here?
Yeah.
Which self am I supposed to believe in? Because if I'm in an insecure state of mind and I'm meant to believe in myself, I am actually believing in myself at that point. I am believing in my insecure self. Thank you very much. And it didn't help.
No,
You want me to believe in the other self, but I'm not experienced the other self. So what do you want? I don't understand what you want from me. So believing in yourself is complex and sometimes really difficult. Unless you're in this beautiful space where you are totally believing in yourself and it's like obvious. What do you want, people? So, but to help people, the idea of believing in yourself, I don't find very helpful. So confidence means confidere, which means with belief, and is commonly misunderstood for believing in yourself as if there was one self that one should and could actually believe in to make anything better.
Yeah.
I will suggest a different way of looking at these things. For once, you don't need to believe in yourself. Why? Because you don't believe in light switches, right? You don't have to believe in a light switch. You flick it, and then ideally the light comes on. If it doesn't come on, what happens? Do you enter into a big life crisis? Or?
Well, potentially, I might. We're all different.
That's true. But generally, if you turn on the light and it didn't turn on, what would happen for you?
Investigate.
Yeah. I mean, you might say the odd thing like, oh, blah, blah, blah. But you just investigate. You probably switch out the light bulb, check the fuse. A couple of things you do. It's very pragmatic. We don't tend to take it personally. We don't go, what's wrong with me? Why? Unless you're my son, you probably will. He loves the drama. Okay, so the idea here is, what if you don't have to believe in yourself? I find that so relieving. Like, oh, I don't have to believe in myself. No, imagine you could be successful and happy even if you didn't.
But like all these things, that's what we're being sold to.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be all of these things, and we don't really, but that's what everybody expects you to be or do or whatever. And I'm not limiting it at that.
I mean, if you want to go a big conceptually, yes, there are a lot of social expectations on us nowadays. I am only somewhat, at choice how many I really will take on. But it is interesting to observe that our entire economy functions on the fact that we're just a little bit unhappy all of the time.
Yeah.
Because we consume more when we are. So there's an interest in our whole system to keep us a little bit under stress, a little bit under, a little bit less. So yeah, there is a lot on us, always. That's how it is. And I'm suggesting right now that to be confident, you do not need to believe in yourself. You actually get to do something much easier or harder, depending on the way that you look at things.
Yeah.
Okay. But when you want to do something, the idea is do that. Don't put that middleman of confidence in. So confidence is not a prerequisite. That's the other piece.
Yeah.
Most people think it is. Oh, I need to be confident. If I wish I was confident like you, if I was confident like you, I would share my message to the world. I would talk to XYZ. I would be so amazing. Only I was confident. Confident is not a prerequisite. Confidence is a result. So the reason why you become confident is because you've done something often enough, hopefully learned, became a bit good at it, and you developed competence. And over time, that competence breeds confidence. Yeah. I happen to believe that I'm good on camera and I'm good on stage because I'm A, totally delusional and up my own ass, obviously, but also B, I've done it so many times and I've gained enough feedback to think that it might be true.
Yeah.
So you get references in the world. And so that now I carry that belief forward that, generally I got this. And don't for 1 minute think that doesn't mean I never mess it up. I can totally mess it up. I can get insecure too. And anything can happen to anyone, right? But generally I have this belief that I'm really good at this because I've done it a lot. So it's like, it's just something I'm good at because I know I am because I've done it a lot and I've practiced, and it's been, I'm 47 now and I've been on stage since the age of 5. So, I wish I was confident like you. No, I'm practiced. I'm more practiced than you. That's it.
There's an element of nature versus nurture. I'll explain what I mean, because I have questioned that a number of times about myself, in the sense that, so as a child, I was quite an introvert, and my parents were worry about anything and everything just because you can. So I was raised to be nervous of anything and any situation, and dogs and people are going to kill you, and that sort of stuff. And then obviously I moved over here, and I moved up the food chain in work. So that meant all of a sudden this young girl needs to tell a 60-year-old what to do. So I had to either grow a pair of balls very, very quickly or move on. So an extroverted side of me came out and remained there for quite a long time, to be fair. And it's only in recent years that I'd say I'm probably moving back towards the introvert. I can be extroverted, but in the right circumstances. Having said that, and I don't know whether it's because I was an only child, so I was always with adults, I've never been scared, or I come across as very confident when I talk to people. And I've got no idea why. I have got no real awareness of how, now I do, but especially maybe 5 years ago, it wasn't a question I would have even have asked myself, if that makes sense.
I'm going to say yes. That's the answer. Yes is the answer. There is nature and there's nurture. For sure. For sure. Some people are naturally less out there and some people are naturally more out there. But that doesn't mean very much. And I'll share with you what I mean by that. So I am by default more out there. Always have been. Oh, she's gonna be an actress when she grows up. Oh, look at her. She's such an actress. You're gonna be an actress, aren't you? You're gonna be a little, look at that little actress. So I grew into that belief. Everybody said she's gonna be a little actress. So I am a little actress, do you know?
Yeah.
That's nurture, but there was something that they saw, that's nature. Let's talk about confidence. It looks that on the outside then that Evelyn was very confident.
Yeah.
However, on the inside, I love to share with people now that I balance this perception with at least the equal amount of insecurity.
Yeah.
And that's just true. So when you see a person that appears confident, they are possibly highly insecure and have built a really strong shell to protect their soft underbelly from the world.
And this is the other thing, whether it's confidence or anything else in life, it's perception, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got confidence and self-confidence. You've got confidence in a social environment, confidence in your own body, not just what you look like, but whether it functions properly or not. You've got the self-worth. You've got all of these other bits to it, aren't you?
Self-confidence, self-belief, self-esteem, self-worth, all this stuff. So let's demystify the whole thing because it does get incredibly complicated. I don't like the word confidence too much because it's so overused and so misused. As I said before, you don't need confidence to do the thing you want to do. If we can be in agreement with that, we already took out the middleman. Go for it. Okay. But now comes the other piece, which is like, I just can't get myself to it because I feel scared. I'm going to name that as insecurity. So I love to look at not just the whole life, but this aspect through the lens of feeling secure and feeling insecure. And, or having your nervous system in regulation, that's when you feel secure, or having your nervous system activated, that's when you're in stress about something. And so this is a very simple lens and it's really effective because when your nervous system is regulated, when you feel safe inside, then it's much easier to do things with grace and ease. Therefore, having what people would call natural confidence, authentic confidence, real confidence, inner confidence, whatever, you get it. You actually have a settled nervous system, that's it.
Yeah.
When you are stressed and triggered and anxious, you have states of insecurity, your nervous system is dysregulated. So we become more erratic, we don't know what to do, our mind speeds up, it thinks all sorts of unhelpful thoughts. We go into fear, we go into shame, we go into shutdown. Our neofrontal cortex stops functioning, our limbic system takes over. We became more reptile, brain, anxious animals. There you go. That's how this works. Very simple way to look at it. So my question then becomes, hey, is your nervous system dysregulated in this moment? Is there something that throws you off feeling safe and secure in your body and in your life? And the answer will be, yeah. Well, fuck yeah. I'm about to go on stage and I don't know if these people are going to eat me alive.
Yeah.
So, will you expect me to just be calm and connect with them heart to heart? Or what? I mean, I wish I could, but I can't because they might kill me and then I'm going to lose my job and I'm never going to have food again on my table and I'm going to die.
And this is it as well. We're wired to see the worst scenario. So, obviously they're going to eat you alive.
So what's really happening, so I can look at it from the mental level, which is interesting and lengthy, or we can cut straight down to the physical, the nervous system. If your nervous system is activated and you are dysregulated, then you're going to have symptoms of fast thinking. You're going to have symptoms of not feeling very good about yourself. My job is to help you regulate your nervous system. So let's take some deep breaths and let's remember who we are. Let's remember why we're doing this thing. And let's remember what the situation actually is. And the truth is, it is a lot of things, because there is a level on which if you really mess these things up, you could lose your job. And if you lose your job and don't manage to get another job, and you fall into a deep depression and you can't be bothered to do anything about it, and if you do like all these 10,000 things that are necessary for you to lose your home, that is a possibility if you want to go there. But it's not the only possibility, right? It's just one of very, 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 very many. When you manage to regulate your nervous system by breathing and seeing what the situation is, which is you are going, let's say you're going on a stage and you're sharing a message. Have you prepared that message? I hope so. Let's say you are going to present a prepared message. Okay, then let's think about why you're doing this. Well, you're doing this because you have a calling for it. For example, you've been called to do this. You really want to share this message. Great. So now is your time to do this thing that you want to do. Awesome. Whatever happens next, you get to say that you did what you came here to do. That's a reality too.
Yeah.
What else? You're doing it for the first time. Okay, that's exciting. So the great unknown. I'm expecting you, when you don't know how something's going to go, to have a certain degree of nervousness around that. That's healthy. It keeps you alert. It keeps you sharp. So well done. You're functioning like a human, right? Good stuff. What else is going on? You're afraid that you'll fall over yourself and look stupid. Okay. Well, that could happen. You could look stupid. You could find out that you are stupid to a certain degree. Then what?
I'd argue in that case, people will remember you forever.
Great. That is not necessarily a bad thing. How do you know? And this whole idea that it's the end of the world when we are stupid is an interesting one as well.
I mean, as we said, there's obviously an element of beliefs, but one of the things I hear a lot, especially from men, is that, when I talk to women, they don't respond the way I want them to. And there's a total lack of confidence in talking, for example, to women, which obviously I would challenge. But I think it's a little bit like what you just said, especially the last bit. It's the fear of not coming across as intelligent, well-spoken, interesting, that they're going to want to see you again, that sort of stuff, isn't it?
Yes. Okay. So if we're talking in the area of relationships, good fun. If a man said to me, I'm afraid that a woman won't respond like I want her to, I would go straight away and challenge his control issues. I find that a really manipulating thought. You want a woman to respond a way you want her to.
I don't think it's necessarily, I mean, I'm thinking of a particular person. I don't think it's meant in that way at all. More that he feels rejected by everybody.
I get that.
And he just like, they won't talk to me, they won't entertain me. Yeah. And as a result, just doesn't speak to anyone.
So I'm gonna finish the manipulation thought, because I think it's really interesting. If I have an expectation that people should respond in a certain way, I'm trying to control a situation to more or less a degree. I'm trying to control the situation. I'm not okay if it doesn't go the way that I have planned it. Then what can happen is I can get a bit awkward trying to make it so it would be the way that I want it to. That's when I start manipulating the other person. I could manipulate the other person with extreme politeness. I can manipulate them with being, like in my case, like really, really soft and gentle, because it's really important for me that they like me. And so I'm going to show them this really nice side. But I'm coming from the intention of making you like me. And that's a manipulating thinking versus free relating. I am here, I'm offering myself, and you're here and you're doing whatever you want. But we're here, we're creating, and maybe we're relating, maybe we're not. But the more freedom we can bring into a relationship, a relating situation, the more you're going to feel okay about yourself, no matter how it goes. So I'd like to go there first. The piece about rejection is super interesting and very, very much linked to confidence, right? So people are less confident when they have been rejected. So as I mentioned, I'm a trained actress, and I've always been called an actress from the age of 3. I had my first acting roles at 5. I played in the National Theatre at 13. I'm an actress, okay? So when school was over, I really couldn't not wait to just get out in the world and get into acting school and get famous, because I'm brilliant and talented, and it's about freaking time for me to do it, not just sit there and learn.
Yeah.
Okay. So my expectation was I go to the best acting schools in the country and they will fight over me, and then I'll choose the best one.
And then they're all going to fight over you for the movies as well.
Well, hello.
Obviously.
Just one look, right? I mean, come on, what's not to like? That's what I thought. And then life happened in a very different way, funny enough. I was not accepted in acting schools whatsoever. Sometimes I made it to a second round, but most of the times I didn't. Sometimes I made it to a third round, actually quite rarely, only 3 times or something. Most of the times I didn't. And it took me 3 years, 27 auditions, and traveling around the country to get into a ding-dang acting school. I've not met a single person in Germany who's done more auditions than me to get into acting school. Okay, so rejection is something I practiced, and I hated every single time. I promised. So I hear anyone on rejection, and it's hard. Look, I know I'm good at this. I'm meant for this, and you're saying no? Are you crazy?
One of the things I often say in this particular case as well is, if you're talking to somebody in the supermarket, you're not attracted to them, you couldn't care less, you're never going to see them again, that's probably when you're going to be at your wittiest and, the most attractive, because there's no weight of outcome. But people put so much weight on the outcome that all of a sudden, tongue-tied, sweaty, don't know what to say.
Yeah, when the stakes are high, if it's really what you want. So in my case with the acting schools, I really, really wanted to get going.
Weight of outcome, isn't it?
I probably wasn't that great, right? And same in relationships, you're right. Talking to the really, really hot, intelligent, successful man over there is a different thing than talking to the geek over here I'm never gonna do anything with. Rejection is really been hard. I found it really challenging, because everyone, don't worry about it, don't take it personal. I take things so personal. I took the rejection very personal, and I started doubting. So this is what happens. You start doubting yourself. Am I actually talented? Maybe I just thought I was talented. Oh, I'm one of these people who grew up because everybody said you're great. I thought I was great. And then reality comes like, well, you know what? Guess what, Evelyn? You're not that great. It turns out you can't even get on acting school. So maybe you're not that talented. Maybe you never were. And then we take it to heart, and then it goes down. And the next time I do an audition, I'm shit because, I'm probably not that great, but I'm giving it a good go. And so the spiral goes down. And that's just a spiral. There's a spiral that can happen. And personal relationships, same thing. You've had 10 guys saying no to you, and you think there's nobody out there. There's just nobody out there. The last 10 people said no, clearly. Now, here's the thing. You don't know how many people are out there for you. You don't know how many soulmates you have. But just because 100 people said no does not mean that your soulmate is not number 101.
Yeah, quite.
Right? But if we could only see that the 10 people that just say no are in no way, shape, or form a measurement of the fact that love is not available for you. But we're so cute as humans. We're like, yeah, but there is nobody out there who loves me because these last 10 guys have been catastrophe. I've been online dating for the last, months, eons. It's like, oh my God, is this never going to happen? Because it has nothing to do with that. Because if the guy that is ideal is over here and I date these people, I can date 100 of people. It's not him, is it?
Exactly.
So rejection is just a no. It's just a no. It doesn't mean anything about us And I'll be super honest, I have not achieved really, I found it so hard, I made it about me. And the result of making it about me was I eventually got really sad, and I lost what they call confidence. Now, in the grand scheme of things, I'm going to now claim that that's probably a healthy thing.
Yeah.
Because what you're losing is the belief, is the illusion that the belief matters. Like again, I said you don't need confidence. So if I lose confidence, I haven't lost anything, but I think I have.
Yeah, and it's a matter of practice, isn't it? I mean, I went to this conference last week and I hadn't been to such a thing for a long, long time. And there were times where I felt like a duck out of water.
Yeah.
Like, no, this is not me. This is not for me. And there was nothing wrong with it. It was a lack of self-confidence a little bit. Also, I got onions. I can't eat onions, and onions were added to just about everything. So I just became like the Michelin man, and I was in a load of pain. I even left early. But all of these things are like, okay, what you need is to go more because you haven't practiced enough, basically.
So there's one thing people love to say, that if you have more practice, then it becomes easier. And so that helps with this feeling confident, or as I like to say, feeling at ease. Yeah. You'll feel more at ease because you're used to it. So the unknown is something that we traditionally fear a little bit. And when we know something, we think we know something, we feel more at ease. It doesn't have to be like that. I actually really enjoy the unknown, often, not all the time, but I've cultivated this idea that the unknown is exciting and where the adventure happens. So if I can see it that way, then I don't have to practice it a lot so I can be at ease. I can start practicing being at ease in the unknown. And when I say you can do that too.
But I think there's an element of self-awareness as well, because, you know, we're all going to have certain triggers. And as long as we're aware of what those are, you can put things in place so that actually you are at your best, as opposed to not, whether you are in the unknown or not. But I think self-awareness is quite important.
It is, and it's another one of these terms that are overused and underexplained. So self-awareness is that you know what's happening, but it is not that you berate yourself for it.
No. It's knowing your reactions, knowing your triggers, knowing that certain things you're not going to be comfortable with. So what can you do, because you know that is going to happen, or there's a higher probability something's going to happen. So what can you do so that you feel better about yourself? Yeah. In this particular case, whenever I go to things, I always get onions. There's no thing about it. It doesn't matter how many times I tell them. I'm glad that it's not an anaphylactic shock kind of reactions I get, because I've been dead 3-4 times over just in the last month. But people don't seem to care about onion is an issue. Not that I'm on my soapbox about it much, but I know that as a result, I am not going to be confident. I'm going to be in pain. I'm going to blah, blah, blah. So what can I do? Well, I have the onion wardrobe, because then at least I will be more comfortable, if anything else.
Yeah, that's a good one to think around it. I'm going to finish and close the acting story, because I've just said, so I've lost my confidence. I say you don't lose anything, but it feels like you do. So it didn't feel very good. And of course, I was quite young at the time, and blah, blah, blah. I did get into acting school after 3 years. And it was really interesting how that happened, because what they did is they physically exhausted us.
Right.
They physically exhausted us to a degree that we could no longer think and be like cognitive, choosing how we present. I was so whacked. I could barely move from the exercise they made us do. And so when they then put us into an improv situation or an acting situation, what came out was just, just what I had left. I didn't have anything to give on purpose. It was just what was there.
Yeah.
And that saved me, because they could actually see me, not this, I'm trying to be cool and talented and awesome, and I've been taught since I was 3 that I'm going to be. And that was dead. I was just too tired for any of that shit. Yeah. So there was only what was left. And what was left is the true bit. Yeah. And they saw that and I said, we want you.
Yeah.
And I thought, isn't that interesting? Here I am working my ass off, trying to be great. And when I can't do it anymore, finally it works out.
Yeah. Well, that's
That's a metaphor for life, isn't it?
Yeah.
That how the relationship, like the real relationship happens, that you do trip over and land in the mud, and Mr. Wonderful comes and helps you out, and you meet, and your face is full of gunk, and you look your worst, and that's when he falls in love with you, because he actually meets you, not your ideal version of yourself, not your Instagram profile.
Yeah, and it's the case in so many aspects of life, isn't it?
So if that is the case, and if that is the truth, then confidence is completely overrated.
Yeah.
Or the idea of confidence. So at the end of the day, here we come into the authenticity. The authenticity, when you are real, when you are what's left when you're not trying, then we have a chance of actually getting a real feel for you. And that's how I can fall in love with you. And that's how I can relate to you. That's how I can feel you. So you don't need this confidence idea as much as you need the willingness to let go and show more of yourself.
Which leads to another point where a lot of the people I see, not all of them, but a large number of, they want someone to love them, they don't even like themselves. So if you don't even like yourself, what hope has anybody else to see any potential in you? You know, there's an element where in order to be authentic, to be true to yourself, you need to, first of all, know who that person is, and secondly, like him or her a little bit, because otherwise there is, forget confidence, there's just nothing, is there? How are you ever going to be happy? You can't be happy because you're looking for something that you don't know what it is. You're just looking for being saved. And being saved doesn't actually make you happy.
So there's some really interesting points in there that I would love to pick up on. And before I do that, I want to draw that line to what we're talking about is the stuff that helps people perform really, really well. So because I'm not just talking as a nice person, or maybe not nice person, depending on how you want to judge it, but the people that I work with have gotten 6-figure record deals doing this kind of work. They have thrived doing a speech to Parliament, doing that kind of work. So we're not just talking ideas, this actually works in the real world. I wanted to add that, so that's very clear to people. And you do very powerful work with your clients. So we're not just talking as like two friends having a bit of a chit chat. We're talking as professionals who know what's actually creating results for real people in the real world.
That's right.
So what you just said is interesting, because don't worry about confidence if you don't even like yourself. What have you got? And how are you giving people a chance to like you if you don't even like yourself?
Yeah.
I'm going to challenge that, if I may. Have you ever met someone who didn't like themselves, but you thought, actually, you know what? I like you.
Yes, potentially I have. Yes.
Yeah.
That could have happened.
I have seen people that clearly didn't like themselves, but I could see something really lovable in them, and I did actually quite like them. Okay, so if that is true, we can like or love someone who doesn't love themselves. And actually, I would like to bring the case forward that it's really beautiful when someone can love you in the spots that you're not yet able to love yourself, and almost show you the way, light you the way. It's a really beautiful thing that can happen. What isn't a good idea is to wait for that to happen and to want to be saved, like you just said in your next
the issue is in the cases I'm thinking of is that people would not even let you get to that point, if that makes sense.
Yes,
because we wouldn't be able to recognize it.
There is that as well. I want to make the point, or draw attention to this loop that I am observing, where people learn about, okay, so I want to be more confident, right? I'm not confident because I don't really believe in myself. Okay, now Evelyn says I don't have to believe in myself. Fine. Yeah, whatever. But I'm just going to do the thing. Now I'm finding out I don't really like myself. But I've been told if I don't like myself, I have no chance. Well, shit, what do I do now? Because now I have to like myself, but I don't really like myself. And I don't like that I don't like myself. And you can get yourself in this loopy loop that goes downward, that punishes you for not liking yourself.
Yeah, quite. But the piece that goes with liking yourself is that people don't even know who they are past a certain age, because they are someone to their colleagues, parents, sister, brother, whoever, friend, kids if they've got any, siblings, whatever. And it's something, I don't know. I mean, I can't certainly say experienced it myself, but I've seen it in a lot of people, mainly over 40. And I don't know whether it's life runs you down through the thing. But a lot of people lose track of who they actually are. And it is often when they start to not like themselves. And I mean, I was talking to someone a couple of weeks ago, it started with weight. And then it was about, and I've got this health issue, so I can't even do that. And the upshot when we moved down the line was really this person does not like herself. But if we push it back a little bit further, actually, she's lost herself. What she's trying to get back to is who she was when she was 20. She's never going to be that person again because all that life experience has happened. There's a new person to be created. But how can she create this person or accept this person if she doesn't know who it is? Confidence will then come from the process of getting to know that.
You can either say it's about getting to know that. You can also say is that you get to create that.
Yeah, both.
It is a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But I don't think that you have to like it to begin with.
Oh, no, quite. It's like the chicken and the egg, isn't it? But they are linked at some point towards the end goal, shall we say.
So the point that I really want to sign off and really agree with you is that you can't be happy when you don't like or even love yourself. It's very, very difficult to have happiness without love.
Yeah.
Because happiness at its core is rooted in love. And so if I want to be happy, then I is required to love the I. So the love is the ultimate thing, if you want.
Yeah.
So, and what are we loving? We can love others, we can love things. And when we really deeply start loving ourselves, we experience very deep transformations, very deep liberations, and everything becomes that much easier. So learning to truly love whatever it is you call yourself is probably the most valuable pursuit of your time. Now we're coming back to this idea of what is this self.
Yeah.
And in the spiritual teachings, when we go high enough, there is no such thing as the self. There literally only is love. So again, you don't even have to worry so much about the self that you need to love. Love. Then if we go further down in the levels of consciousness where you do perceive that there is a difference between me and you, so there is a self, there is a me, there's a something where I'm like, yes, and there's something where I'm like, no, that's the self, to make it really simple. I can practice love towards that. Love the idea that you are this entity that says no to things and that has a feeling for yes to things. That's adorable, right? So that would be a practical step forward on the journey of love and self-love.
Sometimes when I think of love, and even like to a degree unconditional love, is there such a thing? Is everything even like, I think probably a mother to a child would be the most unconditional, but I think that again.
You have children. You have children, right?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't? I have children. Let me just correct you on this one. Sorry. Because I know they always said, their mother, the child love is unconditional. No, it's definitely no.
Well, I was about to say, from my experience, but the other way around, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Would say that is a little bit conditional at times, and
there is that. So
not a lot of the time. But if you take an animal, as long as you feed him to a degree, although again depends on the animal, and if I take my cat, we have specific needs, and if you get Tesco food versus Felix, Tesco food does not make the cut, But an animal per se, we show love to people. And I think that when people have nothing else, just interacting with nature, watching things. I've got a couple of pigeons. I've called them Dave and Doris. We've been coming here for 5 years.
I love that.
Couple. And if I feel down, I look at Dave and Doris, and I've got Bob. Bob's at 6 years old. He's also a pigeon. Has been coming here for a long time. He comes knocking at the door and stuff like that. It doesn't always have, we talk about confidence and love and stuff. It doesn't always have to be like with other people. Little things. That's why we're talking in a different podcast. We're present. being present, you know, watching these little things, and these little animals are happy because they've got a bit of bread or whatever. Sometimes it's taking it back down to the little things as well.
Always. Yes. So I like that. We're talking about confidence and what will help you be more confident. And we're landing at the truth at the heart of the matter, which is to love.
Yeah.
And so confidence is love. Feeling secure in yourself is being in love with life, with what is, with yourself, with anything. It's just being in love. And the more you manage or cultivate to be in love, the easier life is. Because love is the essence energy of life. So to be with love is to be with life. And then everything becomes a bit easier. Now, having said all that, if you feel shit and you're insecure and none of this makes sense today, then there's this other thing that I call being very human. And being human means that we make experience of life. That means we get to experience this beauty of love through its contrasting things, right? So you get to experience love by also experiencing being out of love, being out of sync, being not in harmony, being in aggression, being in anger. And those are very human experiences. So just because we talk like this doesn't mean that on a daily basis, I'm not going to shout at my kids. I wish I didn't, but I'm very human. I fall out of love. And so then we can say, oh, so you have to go back in love. Yeah. Well, take it easy. The point here is, if I want more confidence, more ease, the simple solution is to cultivate more love. Love towards out and love towards in. And in order to do that, I need to accept that it's not always going to happen because I'm human. And I'm going to return to this love state once I'm dead for good, for always. But as a human, I will be in other states as well. The more you can accept that and love that, the easier it's going to get, right? So if I can love that I lost my thread of thought earlier and I'm okay with it and it's cool, I'm going to have an easier time than if I start hating myself over it. For example, if I can love the fact that on stage I sometimes mess up my words or I get a bit jittery, then I can go like, isn't that funny? Look at my hands, they do this thing. It's going to be easier to have this thing and it's probably going to disappear sooner.
Yeah.
So that's our big, beautiful way from this most overused and understood term confidence to the truth of and at the heart of the matter, which is love. And I love that you got us there, Sophie.
Evelyn, thank you so much. For everybody else, if you enjoyed the show, then please subscribe, leave us a review, and more importantly, come back for the next episode. Thank you.